I think offensively, we've scored some points. Percentage-wise, have been pretty good. We got to the foul line a bunch both games. Those are positives. Defensively, there's some good, especially for 25 or 30 minutes of a game, and there's been some lapses. So, it's basically this time of year. There's good, there's bad, there's things you have to get better at both sides of the basketball and of what you're doing, who you're doing it with, personnel-wise. It's kind of probably where we expect to be right now.
Point guard play, just with Tavion out there trying to get that going. I mean, how did you sort of handle that and trying to get Jordan more involved with that while you wait on Kenny? Just how you're balancing those two needs?
Well, I mean, that's the two guys that has to play for us right now at those spots. And, and Tavion, it's a learning experience for him every game. But, that last game naturally put him back in his comfort zone even more so because they try to overplay and real aggressive, and it makes him really do what he does best, attacks that rim. He'll attack the rim, and, I think he shot 10 free throws? Made 9 out of 10 free throws and scored some baskets. And, it's, still learning to be a point guard is a adjustment for him, understanding where everybody else is at and, not letting the pressure keep you from initiating the whole offense of the team. And that's all a learning curve for him. Anything Rawls does right now, you good or bad, it's just kind of where it is. He's a freshman. There's going to be a learning curve. No question, I think he brings a really good feel. His adjustments, like all freshmen, just how hard you got to do it every possession, the toughness you got to go do it with, again, every possession. So only time will cure some of his things he's got to get better at. But it's very obvious we made an effort to try to get him in the game more the last game to get him more experience. And, those two guys will be valuable going on the road because we're going against a different kind of, defense. A team is going to press you for 40 minutes, and those guards have got to be able to handle that ball, consistently and just not handle it, but make right decisions, out of that. So that will be an adjustment and challenge for us.
Did Jordan improve defensively in that game? Because you mentioned that was kind of why, he was limited in that Tech game. So added those.
Well, there's that and some other things. Offensively, I think the thing he has to continue to get better at, he doesn't have to come in looking to score every possession, maybe like he did in high school. And he's got the ability to score, and we want him to score now. But as a young guy, you have to come in and kind of, think about other things. Think about how hard you got to play. Think about running your team. And you'll be amazed when you think about those things. There's more opportunities to open up before you just score anyway. So that's an adjustment that every freshman has to make, and particularly a guard who's really wired to, that has been depended on to score so much for his high school team. Again, I want him to score. I think he's a capable scorer at a lot of different levels. I think he shoots it. I think he can, he's got a good float, mid-range floater from all angles. And again, but his role, we need him leading his team. Again, taking those opportunities when they're there and not kind of search them out.
How has Josh kind of adapted to his role coming off the bench after starting some of the games last year?
We'll see as we play forward. We need him to give us more. We need those minutes he's given us to be more minutes. But it's not more minutes we need. We need more productivity in those minutes he's in there. And the better you are, the more productive you are, the more minutes you play. So that's kind of adjustment he's got to make. He was in that role his freshman year. So again, it's very obvious he brings some things some other guys don't bring, and he can be a really valuable weapon for us. And again, I ain't worried about who starts, who comes off the bench. I don't get into that as much as you guys get into who's your starters. So those guys can be in there late in that game as guys you want to depend on, and no doubt Josh can help us in a lot of those areas.
There were a couple of plays on Saturday where Carson got the ball cutting across the paint and 2 times he was able to hit a guy in the corner wide open for 3. How important can his playmaking be moving forward? I think he ended up with 5 assists right there with Jordan.
He ended up with 5 assists in the game. Anytime you get 5 assists out of your kind of, power forward type of player, that's pretty good. I don't think he beat you with quickness out there putting it on the floor. He just beat you with toughness. I think he's as I said last night at the radio show with Randy, I think he's probably a better passer than anybody ever knew because he's never had to pass the ball. When you're in paint most of your life, you're not put in those situations a lot to have an opportunity to pass. Now he's out in that perimeter a bunch. He's put in a situation where he can utilize one thing he does. And there's a lot of guys can pass. Some guys are not willing to pass. So I think he has the ability to pass, and I think plus he's a willing passer, which is even, better.
Are you starting to see your starting 5 just gel a little bit more out there on the court the more they play together?
Well, again, I think the more they play together, better it'll be. And, that starting 5 hadn't been together but a few weeks. Once we figured out Cooper wasn't going to get his waiver, we've kind of adjusted in with that group there a little bit. So I think, definitely the more they play, the more comfortable they'll get, the more we'll figure out some things they can do and can't do, and kind of getting those guys off the bench, fitting them into those right roles coming in off that, coming into that game.
Have you received any update on Kenny?
Nothing new.
What are your thoughts just on the waiver process overall, the way the NCAA is kind of going about handling that?
Well, I can't think of many kids. I can't think of any where there's been a lot of waivers that haven't gone through. But I don't know any waivers haven't gone through where a player's coach left. Even though there's other mitigating factors too besides that, I don't know anywhere coaches left where a kid's been denied. And maybe there are some. Does anybody think of one? Give me one, because I keep saying I don't know any. I can't think of one. But that's just one of several mitigating factors that he has. So hopefully, the committee will see that. And I think they're just not having an opportunity to really see it. And if they've got it yet, because I'm sure there's a lot of waivers laying on their desk yet.
I know he's an older guy, but do you have to talk to him or coach him up, be like, just sort of stay up, be ready for whatever?
Talk to him about it, but it's not because I think he's required it. I think his attitude's been great. He's on that gold team, and he's practicing with us, and I think he feels like we do. We feel very optimistic he's going to get it. So, it's a matter of time. That's where we feel. But he's a mature young man, and he's been good from that standpoint. I've seen some guys that probably wouldn't handle as well as he's handled it, but it has not been no problem with him at all.
Coach, you kind of talked about, just needing Rawls to have some experience before you really see him start the floor. Do you feel the same way with your other freshmen, kind of like Isaiah as well? And how much time is there, like a certain game, like by game 10, okay, I hope to see this much improvement?
Well, I think from a standpoint of comparing those two guys, you really can't compare where they're at within their game. Rawls' game's definitely a game that, is much farther along because he's been a guard. A big guy, that game sometimes is harder for a guy to adjust to speed, to toughness, and physicalness around that rim. And Isaiah's gotten better, no question about that. And he'll continue to get better because he works hard. But it's more of a learning curve for him than is a guy like Rawls.
What are some of the challenges that WKU poses?
Press, different style. 40 minutes of just scramble and run and jump, and we're going to shoot a lot of threes, and just a different style. Kind of be a third style. That first style will spread you out and 4 guards and center screen a lot with Charles. The last game, they set very few ball screens. This team here will press you now for 40 minutes. Different types of presses. They're going to adjust probably 2 or 3 different types of presses. And again, that's always a challenge when you got some new pieces and some new guards trying to figure some things out. And you got to go make basketball plays against it. They're going to put you in situations, you got to go make some plays. You can't always, put a guy on a spot because you don't know where that double team or rotation's coming from.